As you can see, we have two computers. One is old Windows 8 computer, alright, and the other one is very new Windows 10 computer. So what we're going to be doing today to demonstrate data migration and use all our Windows 8 user settings, all of these folders on the desktop, this PC, network, recycle bin, control panel, everything exactly, all these things in the taskbar that you see here, everything exactly the same way they are. We're going to be migrating those settings on your old computer. We're going to be migrating them, moving them, the exact settings into your Windows 10. This is what we're going to be doing today. Alright, once you have created your configuration file and you've verified that it's inside the USMT folder, the ADK folder, the next step is to basically go back to the old computer and capture all the settings on this old computer and store them as one single file on a network share. So the network share that we're going to be sending it to is on another server, another computer somewhere. So in doing that, you will have to change our directory again. We want to go back to where the ADK folder is. I believe it's stored in C USMT. Let's see, and let's list the files as there. Okay, great, everything is there. So close. And then the next command for you to run will be to use a ScanState to capture all these old computer settings, and you have to say ScanState space / and then the next thing is to specify the location that you want to store all the settings to. So in this case, in this lesson, we are storing that on a network share, like a network folder somewhere. So you call the server name. Basically, my server name is dev-100, and the folder inside that server is called, I think, migrate. Okay, great. You specify that location, that's where you want to store it, and then basically you use your configuration file. All right, so that's / config : do you remember the name of that config file is TechAkin.XML. all right, you type that in, and then what do you want to, what kind of settings and what kind of data do you want to store? / I : make app.xml. You want to capture all the application settings on this old computer and store them. And also you also want to capture, you type in I / I : make user, all the user settings. We also want to capture all that. Make user.xml. all right, we also want to capture that, and specify the verbosity level, v : I'll use 13, and then also space / there's something you have to use, it's /o. /o means to overwrite. So for example, we want to store a settings for this user, which is TechAkin, and if, for example, TechAkin is already available on the destination computer, that is our new computer, I want to overwrite all of that and make sure my settings are new. So you use / o. So basically, the next thing to specify is you want to make sure you go through all the users currently on this computer. So for example, if you have so many people logging in into this computer, like we checked in the beginning, I think there are 4 people logging into the old computer. You want to exclude all of them first. So / /UE : type in : star, use a star, basically use a star to exclude everybody, and then you have to include the person that you are migrating. Okay, it's /UI. You use that colon, and then you specify the name of that person that you want to include in the data store. So the server name, the domain controller name, followed by the name of that user, which is TechAkin. All right, that is basically you use the ScanState command and you point that directly to a location which is on a server somewhere, a network server, network share, and you specify the config file that we created in the beginning. If you remember, that inside is going to use that config file to manage all your settings, and you specify that you want to migrate all your application, you also want to migrate all the users, and you want to use a verbosity level of 13, which is your event log file. You want to make it very detailed, and you want to overwrite any user that is called this user. You also want to exclude all of the user on this old computer, and you want to include only one user, which is TechAkin. All right, so go ahead and run that, and then you will see your it will start processing and start gathering data. All right, once you start gathering data, you'll see it's actually going very, very fast, and it's looking for that person that is included in our users. It's taking that user, it's checking this computer as a whole, and it's looking for how many users are there. It finds everybody, and then basically it chose only one person to gather the data for, which is TechAkin. So now it's gathering all the data for TechAkin. So it's 31% done now. All right, I'm gonna stop the video for a while here, and then I'll see you back when everything is completed. All right, so the ScanState command completed successfully, as you can see here, and it stored an event log. This part, see USMT ScanState.log. This is where we can go and check the event log to see if there are any error or anything, there was any problem. But as I can see here, there's no problem. I see success. I see ScanState return code 0, which means everything went 100% fine. So this command, it's basically examining this system. It's examining the whole system to discover the migration units. How many migration units are there on this computer? It chooses it. There are 4 users in reality, but it chooses one, which we specify in our code. It chooses this person, and it select the migration unit. It quickly gather all the data, and it shows all this data here in this computer, and it committed the process, which is successful. Now let's go and check this path, this network share, whether we have our data that was that the USMT gathered, whether it's stored there. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to bring up an explorer, a full explorer, and then I'm going to type that network part. I think it's DEV 100, which is the name of the machine, and I have migrate on the migrate. So as you can see in our network share, the path is on this migrate folder inside our network share. The USMT is here. It's completed. It stores one single file. So basically, this is the file we're going to be using to run a load state and move it to our new computer. Now, once you've checked that, the next thing to do is to go and log in to the new computer. All right. Once you log in into the new computer, we have to bring up a PowerShell as an administrator to move all the files over. But before we do that, there is one thing you want to do first. You wanted to make sure you copy all the USMT folder, all this folder that contain your config file. All right, let's go ahead and copy that over into our new computer. All right, so copy. So here we are on the our old computer. We're going to copy the USMT folder over into the new computer. So now we're just copying over. It's almost 87%, and so that because we need that USMT file to be able to run load state on the new computer. So once that is done, we'll switch over to the new computer. Once we switch over, we'll also see that all this we're going to verify that all these files, the configuration file, the load state component, and make docs component, make app component, everything is there. So let's switch over to our new computer.